Hey CIS Communication. Today I want us to review Monroe's motivated sequence, which is the organizational structure that you'll use for your final persuasive speech. Now, you should have already read the one page on Monroe's motivated sequence in your textbook, so hopefully you're familiar with these ideas. I'm going to quickly review them and then we'll look at a couple persuasive messages together so you'll feel confident using this structure in your speech. As with all of our speeches this semester, Monroe's motivated sequence also begins by getting the audience's attention. Remember, there are many different strategies that you can use here. You can use a quote or a story or an instance in history or a fact, but something that will really rein your audience in right away. Secondly, you need to provide a need step. This is where you are presenting a problem to the audience. This is also part of persuasion because you are proving to the audience that there is in fact a problem. So your persuasion will be kind of two steps in this speech. One, you'll persuade us that there is in fact a problem. And two, you will persuade us that the solution you have found is the best solution to that problem. Need step really gets your audience to buy into the speech. If they are not affected by the problem, they won't really care. So you need to be able to connect with your audience here and explain to them why this issue should affect them or how it affects them. You can't just leave them hanging there with a problem. You need to offer them some type of solution. Now, I did encourage you as you began your, or I will encourage you as you begin your research to begin with a problem and then find multiple solutions and decide which one solution you believe to be best for the situation. There probably are many different solutions you could choose from. I just want you to choose the one that you think will be best. Let's keep it simple. The fourth step in Monroe's motivated sequence is called visualization. And this step is very brief, but it's important to show your audience what the world will look like once your solution is in place. So audience, I've presented you with a problem, I've offered you a solution, and if my solution takes place, the world will look like this. Tell us about all the positive outcomes that will come from the satisfaction step that you've provided. And then finally, the last step in this motivated sequence is the action step. Because this is a persuasive speech, you want your audience to go out and do something. You are persuading them, you are motivating them to put your solution into place. So you need to come up with one simple step that your audience could do to get your solution implemented. They might not be able to do the whole thing on their own, but they should be able to take one simple step towards towards satisfying whatever need you've presented. Let's take a look at a couple examples. Here is a need or a problem that you might know about in your daily life. There's a lot of stress on high-performing high school students. So especially in the situation we're in now, a global pandemic, it's incredibly stressful. But even back when we had normal school, some of you are in, 4 or 5 college level classes at the same time that you are participating in sports and activities and you have after school jobs. You obviously know this problem. Now, based on this need or this problem, what kind of audience do you think I would have if I were delivering this speech to our class? Well, because you are a CIS communication class, I anticipate that you're probably taking multiple college level courses. So my audience type is probably friendly and receptive. My audience already agrees with me that this is indeed an issue. So I don't have a lot of persuading to do. I just need to get them to follow along with me. There are, of course, many solutions that we could enact to this, but I want to consider what would be the best solution. So let's come up with some examples of possible solutions. Maybe we start the school day later so that students can sleep more. Maybe we make sure that students' schedules are balanced so that they're not taking all of their college level advanced AP courses in one semester, that they are spaced out. Maybe we have our high performing students check in with counselors every month to make sure that they are doing okay. So there are so many different solutions. Remember, based on your research, I just want you to pick the best one. Obviously, multiple could help, but just choose one. Visualization step, maybe we go with that idea I had about the counselors. High-performing students should have one-on-one check-ins with their counselor twice a month or once a month. Well, my visualization step would then say student stress would decrease because students have someone to talk to, they have a place to express their concerns, and I would visualize what the world would look like with my solution in place. An action step that I could take for this, I could certainly say, you, audience, go talk to your school administrators about this. Or, audience, go to a school board meeting and bring up this concern that we have and this solution that I'm giving you. I need to give my audience some type of step, something that they can do that would be manageable for them. Now, when you are considering your action, go back and think about what type of audience you have. Because I have a friendly audience for this topic, I can actually have a pretty big ask. To be honest, asking students to go to a school board meeting, that's a pretty big ask. I'm asking you to take time out of your day and to speak up publicly. That's a really big ask. But if you are a friendly audience, I might be able to ask that. You might have a hostile audience. We'll look at a hostile audience example here in a second. You can't have a big ask then. You have to do something very small. Let me show you what I mean. Here's another need or problem. It's called animal agriculture, and really it's the farming of animals. And because Americans have such meat-heavy diets, right? We like our beef, we like our bacon. There's a lot of overbreeding of animals, and that's dangerous for the animals, and it's also dangerous for the environment, actually. So my audience type for this one, I just said, America, we are a country of meat eaters. All right. I love a good BLT. I love steak. I love lamb. So my audience type might be a little bit hostile because they might not be receptive to this issue. So I need to take smaller steps in persuasion. Now, I've had students talk about this topic before, and one student in particular was unaware of their hostile audience. So their solution or their satisfaction was that everyone in America should become a vegetarian. And the entire audience just looked at this speaker and thought, I'm not giving up my bacon. How dare you? That's a huge ask to get someone to change their entire diet, and they were beginning with a hostile audience, so it didn't go over well. With this audience, I would think of a small step. Maybe I could ask my audience to consider how much meat they eat. And if you eat meat 7 days a week, could you lessen and eat meat only 6 days a week? All right, I'm not asking you to give it up. I'm asking you to lessen. So consider what solution you could enact that your audience would actually do. A solution would be Americans eating less meat, but not cutting it out altogether. Visualization for this, we might have healthier farms. Our environmental footprint would go down because we would be eating less meat. I would do more research to explain what the visualization step would look like there. And again, action is kind of tied to solution in this one. Maybe I ask you to eat meat one less day per week, and that will lessen your footprint, your carbon footprint on Earth, and it will be better for our environment. Consider your audience type when you are thinking about your ask. The different steps. Attention is where you're really grabbing on to the audience and making sure that they're with you. Need step helps you connect with the audience. Show the audience why they should care about your problem. How does it affect them? Satisfaction. Give a logical and reasonable solution to that problem. Visualization. Show the audience what the world will look like when we implement your solution. And then action. Give the audience a small and manageable step, something that they can do to help us get to that visualization. That's all for Monroe's motivated sequence. We'll use this in our persuasive speech.